Hello, 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 everyone. Can you hear me? One in the chat, please. I think I was just muted a second ago when I was talking. There's the one in the chat if you can hear me, please. How is everybody? A lot to get through today, a lot. Just give me a sec. I just have to set up my slides. Oh, my darlings, I had a bit of an interesting day yesterday. So I've got these new, like, really cool, the Japanese knives, like the sharp, really sharp ones, are great for cooking. And I basically sliced a big chunk of one of my fingers off. And I didn't think, I mean, like, it was bleeding quite a lot, but I didn't think it was that bad. And it took me 5 different attempts to put the plaster on. Um, and even when I put the plaster on, like, the blood was still coming through. So then I realized I have to go to A&E. Like, I have to go to A&E. But this was like 11 o'clock at night, and I just wanted to get in bed. But I just realized, like, no, I have to go to A&E. It's really, really bad. Thank goodness I did, because I didn't even realize I'd actually, like, sliced off some of the tissue as well. So that's why I was meant to do like a Sussex Squad news roundup yesterday. I didn't get the chance to do it because I was literally just in pain the whole day. But I'm here and I'm fine. I will survive. At least I don't have, like, my whole family trying to kill me. So I'll be fine. Let's check your comments. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, Ethan's husband. Hi, Sylvia. I'm alive, guys. I'm alive. Let's see who's here. Let's see who's here. Cookies and cream. Hello. Hello, Fancy. Say, Diane, I've sustained such an injury that required multiple stitches. The numbing injections hurt, but more than the cuts and stitches. Yeah, and the doctor actually said, like, the top of the finger, apparently that bleeds quite a lot. So thank goodness I decided to go to the A&E. Japanese knives are super sharp. I have some of those. Make sure it doesn't get infected. Yeah, they are super sharp, but they're amazing. Knives are murder if you're not a professional chef. Yeah, and I am not a professional chef. Like, I am an amateur. I'm an amateur trying to use professional tools. So, like, I've learnt my lesson now. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Black Queen. Thank you so much. Just let people stream in because I've got a lot to get through today. Because I've been watching some, like, other squaddies podcasts. They've all been, oh gosh, they've all been just dropped something there. They've all been amazing, but there's a lot of I think details that are getting lost, and just so much was happening, and so much news was coming through so quickly that I think a few things got lost. So that's what I want to try and get through today. The headlines today in the UK are just, I didn't want to look at the newsstand in my grocery store today, but oh god, I walked past and it was just like, sigh. Like, it really annoys me that a lot of people are going to look at that and see it as truth. And I think I have underestimated for a very long time just how, I think brainwash is the only, I know that's a very strong word, but it's the only word that can come to mind. Um, how brainwashed a lot of the British public are when it comes to our press. Oh, Yolanda, it's the first time joining your live. Welcome, darling. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. But yeah, like, it's made me realize just, like, how much people eat this up. But I think the tide is turning, and people are starting to ask questions, especially with this Prince Andrew thing. People are starting to say, well, hang on a minute, why are we paying for security for Prince Andrew, but not for Harry? What has Harry done? What's going on? So I know that whole thing with, Andrew getting his military affiliations stripped. We know, because we're in this little bubble of ours. Like, it really didn't mean anything. But I think for the symbolism of people who don't really understand what's going on, I think it was a good thing. So, let's start from the top, shall we? Let me just try and find my slide. Um, oh yeah, the tired dog. This is me. This has been me since last week. Tired, just tired. So yes, here we go. So this is basically where this all started, and this is like the front page of the Daily Fail. So they basically leaked that Prince Harry's security had been breached last September. They'd kept this information up until now in order to distract from the situation with Prince Andrew. And it's not the first time they've done something like this. And what's so interesting about this is that there was a breach in security when Harry was here for the Diana statue unveiling, but there wasn't any when he was here for Prince Philip's funeral. So they didn't really care when he came for the Diana statue unveiling, but they made sure absolutely nothing happened when he came for the Prince Philip's ceremony. So that in itself is quite telling. And we have a new Camilla Tominey people, and her name is Kate Manzi, because she's the one that leaked the story. And Kate Manzi is a liar, did actually start trending momentarily. Not as much as Camilla Tominey as a liar was trending, but people caught on to that very, very quickly because she's the one that leaked the story. I've never heard of her before. This is the first time I'm hearing her name, but obviously she's part of this Rota propaganda machine. And it's interesting also that this came out in the Daily Fail because Meghan just whipped the Daily Fail from here to Mexico. And so because this came out in the Daily Fail, we know that the Daily Fail is working with Kensington Palace. The details in Meghan's case were leaked by Jason Knopf, and there's absolutely no way that they would have been leaked without William's permission. So there's definitely something going on between the Daily Fail, Kensington Palace, possibly Clarence House, because Clarence House have given exclusives to the Daily Fail as well. And so there is a very, very clear coordination here to create misinformation about Harry and Meghan. And the Daily Fail clearly have a vendetta. Rothermere has a vendetta against Meghan and Harry because Meghan mentioned him by name. And I feel like for a very, very long time, when you talk about the tabloid press and how the media in Britain is controlled, for a very long time, I think most people kind of have an idea of who Rupert Murdoch is, but not so much Rothermere. I feel like this is the first time he's getting the heat. So, okay, before I continue, I'm just going to go through some of your comments because they're coming in hard and fast. Look. Diane, this is one time the leak actually benefits the Sussexes and hurts Harry's UK family. Exactly, because they weren't expecting Harry to get ahead of the story so quickly. But I get the feeling even Harry knew that they could do this, so he got ahead of it very, very quickly. British people are so fickle. They are so easily hoodwinked and bamboozled, especially when they are motivated by hate. Unfortunately, that is true. Unfortunately, I have found that to be true. I think Brexit proved that. Britain doesn't really have that revolutionary mindset that, say, maybe France has, or some of the kind of how would I describe? I think like countries that maybe suffered from things like communism, for example, that kind of fighter spirit that your nation has when they've had a particular history. Britain doesn't really have that fighter spirit, so I think it's part of the reason why they are so easily hoodwinked by the press. Go through some of your other comments. Kardashians are more relevant than the British royals. Yes, they are. And I actually remember a while back, Sussex Squad podcast actually had they had an article that was about basically that. Yeah, it was basically what you've just said. It was like about Kim Kardashian's butt being more relevant than the royals, and it's so true. Archie and Tash said Archie and Lily Diana are royals regardless of titles, and they have been the subject of death threats even prior to birth. They need security, period. Exactly. And this is what people have been saying, you know. And Green, they wanted William to be front and center at the Diana unveiling, and it backfired on them. And yes, I'm going to get into this in a little bit more detail later on in the podcast because I do have a slide pertaining to this. Um, Diane, the Rota wants the substances back in the UK so they can have access. Harry shut down all USA access. Billy, I mean, might mean ill, but Rota sees substances as cash cows. Exactly. And this is another problem that I think Kensington Palace and Clarence House and the whole firm has, is that the Rota wants Harry and Meghan back because they want the money. But the firm doesn't want Harry and Meghan back, especially William, because I really do think that a lot of this is now coming from William. They don't want Harry, he doesn't want Harry and Meghan back because he doesn't want the attention taken away from him. He wants all the attention. So this is kind of like the tug of war that's happening, I think. One wants them to come back because one wants the money. The other one doesn't want them to come back because they don't want the attention taken away from them. Because even when Harry and Meghan are in the USA, they're taking the attention away from them. So can you imagine if Harry and Meghan were on that balcony? I really do think that it's Kensington Palace that doesn't want them on that balcony. Invisible, firm plus media plus government equals dictatorship. Exactly. The United Kingdom is 100% a kleptocracy that's walking into dictatorship. And it's not just to do with this, what's happening with the royals, it's just all around. See what else you have to say. Yeah, they're lying. He never threatened to sue. You wanted a review, and I believe actually today they've come back and they've actually denied his request again. So they know that if Harry can't get that security, he's not going to bring his family back. Laura, Charles at one point protected Camilla. Yes, he did. And I'm going to get into that later on in the podcast as well. Thank you for bringing that up. Only, why do the royal family not realize that this is adding to their downfall? Harry and Meghan don't need the royal family to be relevant. This is not going to end well for them. I think that right now you have two things that are going on. I think you have the royal staff, many of which are still living in a different time era, who think that this strongman game that they're playing is still working. They think they're still very much in control. They seem to act like the internet doesn't exist and that they can't be called out on their BS and that we're not keeping receipts. And then I also think, like I said, a lot of it is just William. He wants to be king so bad. Kate wants to be queen consort so bad. Karen Middleton wants to push her trolley down Westminster, as Baron would say, so bad. And it's like they've all just lost their minds. It's like it is literally Game of Thrones. They're being led by their greed and hunger for power. Let's see what I was just saying. Okay, I think I've caught up with the comments now, so we can move on to the next thing. So yes, it was Kate Mansi, the new Camilla Tominey, remember her name. And I just want to actually go back to this. So here I have two pictures. So one picture is of Harry talking with a reporter about the Me You Can't See. And I didn't want to play the video because I'm a little bit scared of playing videos because I don't want to get struck for copyright. But in this particular video that this screen still is taken from, he's talking to a reporter about the Me You Can't See, and he's talking about his the anxiety that he gets when going back to the United Kingdom. And knowing everything that we know now and knowing that Harry knew that he was at risk, it makes so much more sense what he was saying. And this other picture of him in the car makes so much more sense. And this is him. I believe this is him leaving Well Child or leaving the Diana statue unveiling. It was basically that day when he was driving around doing all the statue unveiling and the well child stuff. I mean, look at the look on his face. Like, you can see it. He knows. Harry really does know. So it really puts everything um into context. Black Queen, I believe Harry just wants to see Lizzie before she kicks the bucket. He could care less about the rest of the despicable backstabbers. I think so too. But you know something? I know a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, I don't understand. Why do Harry and Meghan want to come back here when clearly they're in danger and they're not wanted?" I mean, it's not. I don't personally think it's about coming to statue unveilings and coming to the Jubilee and all that other stuff. They do have friends here. They do have organizations that they work with here, and they want to be able to bring their kids here and show them, like, this is where you come from. This is one half of you. This is part of your history. So it's not just for ribbon cutting and waving. I think they could care less about that. They should be able. Harry should be able to come back to his home country and do so safely, and they don't. And they want to make that as difficult as they can for him. Mm, or a ridiculous William. Worldwide, people have to live daily with all this negative press towards H&M. So sick of it. Yeah, this whole thing has turned into one nasty soap opera. And I actually, from this day forth, I will no longer refer to the royal family as the royal family. I will call them the unroyal mafia, because that's what they are. Mm. True for Dilly, Harry is worried, and he should be. Look at what happened to his poor mother. Charles is behind this. I think they're all behind it. To be honest with you, um, you know. Okay, so and this whole rhetoric that the British press keeps saying, no, he doesn't need the security. Really, he doesn't need the security when you've got people like this trying to come after you and your family. You don't need security. How would you feel if you had neo-Nazis coming after you? And the one in the top corner, that one's actually in jail, I believe. I think at least one of them is in jail. And they're now coming back and saying that they won't supply security because the risk is low. You've got neo-Nazis coming after you because you married a biracial woman and the risk is low. Let's have a look at. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep up with your comments. Queen, they're trying to banish and excommunicate Harry and his family. Exactly. Because he is still quite close to the Spencer side, at least. He's still very close. And he does have other friends here. So they just want to cut him off completely. I mean, it's not like those family and friends can't come and visit him, but they want to make sure that he doesn't come back here, that Meghan doesn't come back here, that the children don't come back here, because all of the attention will be on them. We saw the amount of attention that they got those last few days during their leaving tour. So can you imagine if they were to come back and we were to see Lily, we were to see Archie, especially by that time they would have been a bit more grown up. They know that the smear campaign to make the Sussexes unpopular has completely and utterly backfired. If anything, they are more popular than ever. If anything, they have become the firm's worst nightmare. They have become the Diana of our time. Thank you so much, Janet Lavalley. Thank you so much, darling. Kane is so jealous of Harry. Yes, they know that the Sussexes will be the main attraction, and they definitely don't want that. No, they don't. But the royal road to do, because they want to make money, and that's the unfortunate tug of war they have. Okay, and moving on from this, aside from Nazi terrorists, we also have social media terrorists, and the next slide might offend some people, but just warning you. But I think it's important that we have a look at this. There is a individual who I haven't really mentioned, but they are that I try not to mention so much a lot of the hater channels on my channel because I don't want their cult followers coming over here. But I think this really just speaks to what it is that Harry and Meghan are up against and what it is people who support Harry and Meghan are up against. So there is an individual called Yankee Wally. She has a please do not go to her channel. Do not go to her channel, please. Do not hate watch the hater channels. She posted this threat um towards Meghan. Her account was then suspended on Twitter, but she does still have a a YouTube channel where she spews all types of strange conspiracy theories, that Meghan was never pregnant. She wants Meghan's lawyers to, or she's daring Meghan's lawyers to sue her because if they, so that Meghan would have to prove that she was pregnant and just all of this nonsense. And this idiot that went after Dr. Shola. And the reason I'm actually showing this, the picture with the frogs, was because when we tried to report this particular person, Twitter would not remove that image. Just so you know, like this is what we're dealing with, and people like Yankee Wally and this individual, who had this Twitter account, they have tens of thousands of followers, and so you've basically got a situation where you've got a bunch of nutters who are also, I think, what do you call it, grooming another bunch of nutters. And this is what I believe that the end game is in the end. They want a situation where the royal family don't have to get their hands dirty, and do anything to Harry and Meghan. They would rather create an environment where they create so much hate that somebody else does it. And I've just seen someone's comment that I think describes it. Yes, the devil's advocate. Social media terrorism is real. But the thing is, the social media terrorism becomes real life terrorism, right? And so I don't, if anybody ever says to you that Harry and Meghan are not causing a fuss and Harry and Meghan are overreacting, you tell them what you just saw on that slide. Because this is what we're up against. These nutcases. Phew, sorry for that, but I had to say it because I'm so tired of people saying that this isn't it. Like they're literally trying to Diana, Harry, and Meghan in front of our eyes. And you know, this headline from the Metro, I believe this was back in 2020. You know, Harry and Meghan, yeah, so this is when Harry and Meghan were stepping down. So they're out, the nonce is in, and this picture of the Queen leaving church with Andrew. And you know, I really want a straight answer from someone. Does the Queen have control or not? And how much control does she have or not? Because when I'm looking at this picture and I'm seeing her very smiling and gleeful, I mean, have you ever even seen Andrew that happy any other time? Look at how puffy and red his cheeks are. This to me looks like a woman who knows what she's doing. So I find it very, very difficult to believe that, you know, the Queen isn't involved in this in some way, or you know, she's, you know, all the control is out of her hands. I just find that very, very, very difficult to believe, is all I'm saying, when I look at a picture like this. Or at least, at the very, very least, I find it very difficult to believe that there wasn't a time where she could have taken control, so we didn't have to come to where we are now, if that makes sense. Whew. Let me just go back. Lydia, this week Christopher Boozy is releasing the YouTube report. They have been attacking him now as well. Yep, I believe he's releasing some kind of report, and supposedly he had people who showed up at his residence. I mean, it's getting crazy. Getting really crazy. Um, Oh yeah, I'm really, really sorry. I did a video talking about this, the royal family playing Stevie Wonder for Martin Luther King Day. I literally made the video live like half an hour before the broadcast started. It was meant to be live earlier today, but I'm just so sorry. I've been very, very slowed down today. But after this live, if you want to go watch the video, I do talk about this, the whole Martin Luther King Day serenading, and also Beatrice. Sorry, no, Eugenie recording a podcast for an anti-slavery charity. So we're all doing podcasts now. Eugenia is doing a podcast. William is doing his walking podcast with Apple. We're all out here doing podcasts. Haven't heard anything about William's streaming numbers though. That's interesting. Mm, your comment. She also convinced one of her people to try and stab in the stomach. Yeah, I heard about this. Um, I try not to delve too much into conspiracy. I try not to go, where I don't have reasonable evidence. But I will say this regarding some of these trolls. There is a reasonable enough evidence to say that there was some kind of coordinated bot attack um, on towards Meghan and Harry on Twitter. There is reasonable evidence to prove that Kensington Palace were buying bots and fake followers to keep their following up when the Sussexes had their Instagram account. So, would it be so far fetched to say that maybe some of these hater accounts could be getting support from higher ups? I don't know. I'm not saying that that is the case. It could just be a bunch of people that can see that they can make money from hating Harry and Meghan, and it could just be that. But the way that they're just so confident and brazen in their hate, it's like they don't fear any repercussions, and it's what makes me think, could there be someone higher up that's backing them? I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. It's just a theory. Um, I have to go back to your comments. I doubt they had security in Vancouver, Canada. The location was leaked to endanger their lives. They were hounded out of that place as well. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they had some kind of basic security when they were there. Meghan knows people there. She knows the Mulrooney family and they're quite wealthy families. So I'm sure they had some kind of basic security, but not the level of security that it would require to keep a British prince of the realm and his wife safe, right? Mm. Diane Gantz, the Grand and King left multiple receipts showing that you thought about antics and not just starting in 2020. Exactly. Oh, they've known for a long time, a long, long time. And I don't even believe that his antics started with Epstein. Sylvia, I have a sorority sister, 91 years old, and she still heads a committee. Oh, that's cool. Thank you for sharing that. Good on her. Anna, Anna, always coming with the heat, aren't you? I love you, Anna. She's probably telling him, "Don't worry, I've got handled fat baby." What? Oh gosh, Anna. Uh, okay, I don't think I'm gonna be able to keep up with your comments. So, um, let's have a look. I think it's more about intel rather than security. The UK intelligence agencies have access to top up to date real time info and threats. Yes, exactly. That's part of it as well. And actually, I'm glad that you brought that up because it leads me to the next thing that I'm going to point out about all of this. I do not believe for a second, and I think that Harry, to a certain degree, has to know this, that there is anyone in the UK intelligence community or police that can be 100% trusted with the security of the Sussexes. The picture you're seeing right now, that is Cressida Dick. She is the lead commission of the Met, and that is her being given a Queen's Honour by Charles. This is the person who heads the Metropolitan Police. So therefore, this is the person who would be looking at the safety of Harry and his family. So when you sit there and you wonder, why is it that a lot of scandals with politicians and the royals get swept under the rug? Just remember this picture, because the person who is meant to be leading an independent body that is meant to bring everyone who does wrong to justice was given an honor by a royal. Just something to think about. And there was this tweet that Hugh Grant put up. Leveson 2 specific remit was to investigate the relationship between government, elements of the national press, and police. Some people believe they are all in a cozy, mutual, yeah, that word. Sorry, my tongue's in a twist today. Club. Can't think why. Yes, I can't think why they would think that they are all in one big club together. No conflict of interest here at all, right? Clearly there is. And Leveson 2, by the way, for those of you that don't know, so this was meant to be the follow-on investigation from Leveson 1, which looked into the phone hacking with the News of the World and Murdoch. Now, Leveson 2 was cancelled, and I believe it was cancelled by Matt Hancock. Now, Matt Hancock was the former Health Secretary of the United Kingdom. He had absolutely no experience in health, or he's not a doctor or anything at all. And he was the one, I'm sure some of you may have seen the headlines, who was caught kissing another woman behind his wife's back while on the job, and he was subsequently fired. So he was the one that actually all those years ago cancelled Leveson 2, but was somehow rehired years later in a health position as health minister of the UK. And made an absolute disaster of it. So again, it's just that revolving door that they have between each other, propping each other up, giving each other jobs that they're not, qualified for. So that's how deep, all of this goes. Go back to some of your comments. Sorry if I'm just going on a bit of a tangent, but for those of you who don't live in the UK and you don't know these things, like, I want you to understand. Mm. And if I've said something that you don't understand and you want me to repeat and explain it in a bit more detail, please do let me know. So Trevor should check, including the old lady Queenie, they will never ever get away with all the atrocities they've committed against mankind. And just one day, Monkey will go to the market and won't return. It has even begun. Yeah, I do believe that this is the beginning of the end. Um, yeah, I hope that Christopher Boozy can release the report, and I hope that news outlets, even if they're not in the UK, will pick it up. I think it's very important. Emily, people are being radicalized. They are being radicalized, and it's very scary because this is the threat that Harry and Meghan face. Yes, background power members, firm media, government, and I actually believe that the current health secretary of the UK, Sajid Javid, I think his name is, he's also a Tory. His brother is involved with the police as well. So yeah, it's just a revolving door of corruption. Yeah, like Baron says, the calls are coming from inside the house, and not just the palace, Number 10 and Westminster as well. Truth of Dilly, that's what's baffling me. Harry definitely shouldn't trust the authorities, but maybe he's playing game no game, wanting the gutter press to make it clear to the public why he's never coming back. That could also be a possibility as well. I think he knows that he would never be 100% safe. But by doing this, it gives some people understanding. I 100% agree with you. I think that could be Harry and Meghan's game also. Margaret, sign a petition and letter by UK public to allow Harry to pay for security for Harry. That's a good idea. If people want to start it, be more than happy to sign it. Devil's advocate, and how are other European family are different from that unroyal family? So I think that there are some royal families. I think between like kind of Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Spain. I think there are between those ones. Some of them are quite friendly with each other, and I know that I can't remember who it was. It might have been the Norwegian or Swedish. One of them, like they do holiday together, and they do genuinely like seem like families from what I can see. I definitely want to do more research on them and maybe do some more videos on them. I know that the royal family from like the Netherlands, they're relatively normal. I think even Princess Amelia, she said that she didn't want to take the money until that she's owed until she was a lot older. I think her father's even a pilot. So in general, I would say that those other royal families are a lot more down to earth. A lot of them are kind of that half in, half out, a little bit more modern. They've gotten more involved in social causes, especially the Swedish royal family. So I would say that in general, the other royal families are trying to move in, or in Europe anyway, are trying to move with the times in comparison to the Windsors. And I actually don't know that any of the royal families on mainland Europe are quite close to the Windsors. But again, this is something that I'm going to do more research on, and I will get back to you with that because I think it's a very good question and quite interesting. Um, Diane, this latest security scandal is not the kind of thing that goes away or won't at least be remembered annually when the financial records of spending get scrutinized. Can't explain the records away exactly. And in fact, now that you said that, I'm going to go back to my slides. Here we have all of the receipts because we're not playing in the squad. Um, Here we have Charles pays for Camilla security guards. Here we have Kate Moss, who paid for private officers. The taxpayer are still going to be paying for Andrew. It says 300,000 a year, but I've seen another number that says it could be up to 2 million a year. There was a time where the Middletons got protection officers, and also Catherine around the time when it became very obvious that she was dating Will and the engagement time, all leading up to when they were getting engaged. 10 police guards for Catherine, 10. And it's also known that Tony Blair partially reimburses his security costs. Now, I think former prime ministers get up to about £150,000 a year for security. And anything else that they do outside of official duties, they have to pay for themselves. So there are examples of people who do or who have paid for out of duty officers for their security as well. So Harry is definitely, if Harry is definitely not doing anything that is out of the ordinary or that other people haven't done before. So it begs the question, why isn't he being allowed to do what other people have done before? Mm, Laurie, at this point, I am sure all Brits are aware of the relationship between UK government and the royal family and news outlets. They all need to feed off each other. One cannot survive without the other. To be honest with you, Laurie, I don't think the overwhelming majority of the British public are. I think a lot of people are hugely oblivious to it. Because let me explain something to you. Even for me, having grown up in this country, I only begun to really see it and understand it because of the situation with Harry and Meghan. So it's only in the last couple of years that I've come to really understand it and understand how bad it is. Um, I think that if you asked most, like a random British person on the street, like if you ask 10 people who owns the British media, I don't think the majority, maybe like 2 or 3 people might be able to tell you Rupert Murdoch. I don't know if they'd be able to tell you Lord Rothermere, or like how like that relationship between the press, government, and the royals. I don't think a lot of people would be able to describe that and how it operates in detail. They might have a very surface level idea, but the really underhanded, grubby, nasty stuff, I think, is only coming to light now, because what has been hidden in the dark is finally coming out. Mm, yeah, Donna, that's a very good point. Even if the Met Police provided protection for the Sussexes, they would give William, and William would pass it on to the Vale. Yeah, because they're all working together. Aurora, what is a Leveson? So Leveson was the a name of the inquiry that was done into phone hacking by the News of the World. So that was the first Leveson inquiry, was to look into phone hacking by the News of the World, and Leveson 2 was going to look into the relationship between the press and the police. So that was going to be Leveson 2, but that got cancelled by Matt Hancock, or I believe it was Matt Hancock. Please correct me if I'm wrong, or I'll correct myself in the comment section if I am wrong. But I believe it was him. And why can't the royal family do something to protect Harry and his family when in the UK? Because they don't want to protect him, darling. Obviously, without infringing on British taxpayer, it's a joke at this point. A true family would protect you. Well, they're not family, are they? You know, they put the crown first. Mm. Oh wow, 600 plus of you. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't. Treasure, I do begin to wonder why the walking Commonwealth countries are not even saying all these and saying something to help their silence. I can't really grasping it all. Yeah. Mm, I think they're all running. I think they are still a little bit scared, to be honest. Even though if there was ever a time to say something, like now is the time, because there might not be another opportunity to really come down hard on the on royal mafia. So they've got an opening now. What is the point of royalty in the modern era? Well, I can only speak for Britain, and that is to keep the class system in place. That's what I believe the point of royalty is here. I don't think there's any other point of it. If the Scandinavian royal families show public displays of emotion and real life family behavior, the UK doesn't have a royal family, it's a business. Yeah, this is becoming plainer by the day. Yeah, I agree with that. I have seen genuine emotion from royals in on mainland Europe, and especially from the Scandinavian royal families. Right, I'm gonna try and keep up with your comments before I go on to the next slide. Oh, Donna Black. Prince Harry needs people with guns around his family to protect them in the UK, and they need intelligent shadow security. Yes, and that is a perfect comment to go on to the next slide. And that was that I believe that's what they had in New York. And now it makes so much sense why the British press were having such a field day about Harry and Meghan's security in New York. And no one in the US made a big deal out of their security in New York. But it also makes sense now why they were so desperate to have Meghan come back to the UK for that a show trial for a case that was an open and shut case that never needed a trial. And just imagine, they wanted her to come back knowing that she would not be secure, knowing that she wouldn't be able to get security. And there was also some time back, maybe someone can comment in a little bit more detail, because I don't know what the full details was, but it came out that at one point they wanted Meghan to go to Mexico, knowing that they were never going to give her security. A princess of the realm to go to Mexico without security. This is what they wanted. So it's very, very obvious. Like they are setting the stage for a situation where Harry, Meghan, all their children, or all of them could be harmed. Mm. Apparently, who would have thought there would be such a coordinated effort against two people? Yeah, it is. We are literally seeing history unfold, guys and dolls, and it's interesting to be living in a time where this is all unfolding. I can't imagine we won't be living in a time where history reflects. And I do wonder um, how history is going to reflect on this. Personally, in Sweden, Princess Madeleine married an American. Yes, I was actually going to do a video on her. She lives part time in America, while Princess Madeleine, Prince Carl Philip, their spouses and kids are no longer HRH. They still keep all titles. Yeah, and I think part of the reason that they have done that is recognizing that it's modern times, and they themselves wanting to come into the modern times and have a little bit more freedom. You know, I think you know if you still want a royal family, you can have a royal family, but just don't be nasty people and don't suck off the taxpayers and live in all this luxury. You can make your own money, and a lot of the other royal families do make their own money, and so therefore they either take less, sorry, therefore they take less money from the taxpayers. Mm. Trish, it's heartbreaking that Charles pays for Camilla and not his own son. What a piece of work. Well, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Charles go and play polo right after Diana came out the hospital with Harry? So, I mean, he's always been, yeah, he's just always been a bit of a lazy dad. Mm. Dilly, I wish the public would could be privy to how much they are paying for these people. I think that's why Prince Philip hid his will for 90 years. Is that how much? Damn, is that how long it's hidden for? Do you know, I never actually did a video on Prince Philip's will. I think I might have to rewind and do one because I don't know the details of it. But if that's true, wow. Um, oh, they're definitely hiding something, which is ridiculous because Prince Philip lives a life of luxury as the Queen's husband. So we should be able to know what is in that will because we were paying for those luxuries. Thank you for coming, Treasure Chick. Have a nice evening. God bless you too. Okay, let me try and catch up with the comments and we can move on to the next thing. Audrey, I can't wait for Harry's book. You know, I don't think that Harry was ever gonna say anything that was hugely explosive. Like, even in the Oprah interview, I feel like they said enough to make us understand what was going on. But I still don't think they gave us anything that was, terribly apart from maybe I would say, the thing about Archie's skin color, but even then they never said who said it. So up until now, I haven't been expecting anything hugely explosive from Harry and Meghan. And to be honest with you, I don't even think they have to say anything hugely explosive because it's like the institution is exposing themselves. So I think unless Harry is really pushed to the edge of the cliff, and it seems like they are really trying to push him there and they should be very careful. But unless he's really pushed to that edge of the cliff, I don't think Harry is going to burn it all down. I don't even think he wants to. I think he just wants to be left alone and they won't leave him and his wife alone. But if he has to defend himself, then he has to defend himself. and he has a family to protect as well. Laura Jones, could you look into what protection was offered to Camilla at the time Charles was cheating on Diana and when Camilla was being prepped to become Charles's wife? I believe that she was given some protection. She had to have been given some protection. Queen, the Kingdom of Liechtenstein. The Spare got married to a black woman. Yes, I think her name was Princess Angela. And the Spanish Queen is Argentinian. Yes. Okay, there's just a couple of other things that I wanted to get into. Well, one good thing about all of this is that the international press, especially the American press, is handling all of this very, very fairly. They're being a lot more balanced and telling it how it is. And, I think that's one thing that we can have a little bit of peace about, that this is really, all of this is really only the British press, right? All of the other international media and everybody else um, can see what's going on. Uh, Harry is a hero. He knew how to read the room and got his family out before more damage was done. Exactly. And thank goodness he did. Thank goodness he did. Because it like with all of this coming out, it literally scares me. There's something else that I'm looking into as well. There were just some very strange incidences that happened while Harry and Meghan were still in the firm. There was this whole thing with Archie's night nurse who mysteriously got fired in the middle of the night. There was another thing that happened with Meghan's dog breaking both of his legs. I mean, if there's any dog owners in the comment section, please tell me how a dog can break not one but two legs. I'd love to know. Did he jump from the top of the stairs? Very strange. Mm, mm. Let's have a look at your comments. Mm. Sandy Powell's, the European royals are very close to each other. The Liechtensteinian royals are richer than the UK royals because they're bankers. Yes, they're very, very wealthy in Liechtenstein. Funny, I was doing some random reading into Liechtenstein, and apparently, so it can take 15 years or something like that to get citizenship, but you can have it brought down to 10 if there's like a vote by your town or something like that. Very interesting little country. Mm, Joseph, they pick and choose who they want to protect for the pettiest of reasons, from self-preservation to politics, to jealousy to hate. They abandon you when it suits them. Exactly. And you know where this might, I'm glad you said that, Joseph. Thank you for bringing that up. And you know where this might backfire? It could actually backfire with Kate. And this is something that I've thought about recently. Just a theory that I have. If you look at a lot of the headlines about Kate over the last, well, pretty much since the Sussexes left, there's been all of this, Kate is the peacemaker. Kate has been, the rock for the queen. Um, Kate's the one who tries to extend olive branches and bring the peace and, calm William down when he's incandescent with rage. So now that it's almost as if they're painting a picture of her where if um just to theorize, if she was to leave, she would be seen as the innocent one and the victim in the situation. Because to be honest with you, where we are now, if I was in Catherine's shoes, I would leave. I would leave. I know you sat there, girl, and you want that queen consort crown so badly, but this ship is sinking. And I just think, this is just my theory. You can tell me what you think in the comment section, but I just think that this ship is sinking. It's the Titanic, and whoever gets off now saves themselves. So that's just my theory. Hey Donna, how are you? Oh, did somebody? Oh, thank you, Ty Fletcher. I didn't see that. The royal family is trash. Thanks for speaking the truth. Yeah, we've got to speak the truth because enough is enough now. Personally, the British media and monarchy are inciting violence against Sussexes and their kids. Yep, that is what they're doing. Okay, let's go back to. I think I had another slide. Just give me a sec. And oh yeah, I saw this on Twitter, and I just thought it was so funny. Opening the book of Harry and Meghan's combined achievements over the years. And this is just volume one. This is not all of their accomplishments and achievements, just volume one. I was actually in a Sussex Squad Spaces on Twitter. By the way, if you are on Twitter, there are pretty much Sussex Squad Spaces that run all day. So if I ever slip on a banana, crack my head, and I can't make videos, of course, you've got all of the other Sussex Squad podcasts on YouTube as well. But if you want daily, hourly, every single minute running commentary of what's going on, just go on Twitter because there are some great spaces. Mm. Sometimes I want to put your comments on the screen, but I'm just like, you are like shady. Joyful, but Kate has nowhere to run to. She has her family still. They've got wealth still. So Kate has no choice but to go down with the ship because she's put too much into that marriage. That's a good point. Um, but I don't know. I'm just speaking from my perspective. If I was in those very uncomfortable shoes of hers, I would rather risk it on a lifeboat. I would rather risk getting to shore on a lifeboat than stay on the Titanic and hope that somebody is going to come and rescue me. Mm. And when Guy's legs were broken, it was sending Emma a message that they will do something horrific to her. Well, we don't know like who broke the dog's legs, but it was just very suspicious. And then also there was when it came out in the story in the Daily Mail, the way they wrote it, they tried to make it sound like Meghan was the one who was responsible for the dog's legs getting broken, that she was a irresponsible pet owner. So that was also very weird. Sonia, let's call it what it is. William's jealousy and hatred for his brother's success. Harry got the better wife, intelligent, articulate, and beautiful. Harry is loved, respected, adored worldwide. Exactly. And I've always felt that Catherine was a little bit jealous that Harry courted her and put a ring on it so quickly, and she had to wait 10 years. But you can't tell me, ladies, come on now, you can't tell me that she wasn't a little bit salty. Mm, Dolores, Harry and Meghan has a worldwide audience, and people know just by Harry and Meghan, William and Kate don't has this exactly. Especially after that Oprah interview, everyone is looking to see what the Sussexes are going to do next. I did actually tweet the other day. I believe that um, Oprah should release the full 3 hours of that because the whole interview itself was actually 3 hours. It was cut down for the final airing, but there's 3 hours of footage, and I actually think that she should just release the whole 3 hours and let everybody watch the whole thing. because knowing everything that we know now and what's come out, it does make you see that interview in a whole different light. It makes everything that we've seen from um, Harry and Meghan in a whole different light. Um, I even go back to Harry and Meghan's leaving, and there was that footage of Harry, crying and getting very emotional when talking about Archie, and you just can't even imagine, what um, what was going through his head, how heavy his heart was, knowing what these people were doing to him and his family. Mm, let's have a look at your comments. And you wonder if it's true that Eugenie has been ostracized by the Onwars for leaking to Harry and Meghan, totally cut off by Kane and unable. I mean, I don't know if she was leaking to Harry and Meghan, but Eugenie was definitely close to Harry. So it wouldn't surprise me if they've, taken her to the side and said, "Listen, dear, you can't be that close anymore." Because and really and truly, what choice does Eugenie have? From my understanding, I think Eugenie is, or one of her patronages is the Tate young artists. Sorry, Tate Young patrons. I don't know. I don't even know what her other patronages are or what else she does. Um, so if she can't gain more independence, she's just going to have to go along with whatever it is they're telling her. That I wonder what was said in that extra hour. Are you referring to the Oprah interview? I wonder what was said in that extra hour as well. I was quite annoyed, and a lot of squaddies were annoyed that there were several outtakes that CBS posted online in the days that followed. So there was one outtake where Meghan talked about the difference between the way the British press were rude to Catherine, calling her names like Waity Katie, um, as opposed to, sorry, in comparison to being racist towards Meghan, and her saying there's a difference between being rude and being racist. And then there was also another clip that they aired online afterwards where Meghan was explaining about the issue of privacy. Just because you post an Instagram picture doesn't mean that somebody has the right to take your phone and take private pictures. So it was I was quite annoyed that there were several parts that the Oprah interview left out that I think the British public in particular needed to hear. So I hope that they do air the full thing on the 1 year anniversary. I think that would be a great thing to do, to air the full thing. Thank you so much, Pen Pal. You said interesting chat. I pray common sense prevails. Hope a grown up will speak. Harry and his family should be left alone, like the York sisters. Yep. I also hope, and this is something else that I tweeted out recently, that celebrities, I think this would be a very good thing, started to hand back their honours. Because really and truly now, if you're taking an honour from this institution, you're saying that you're okay with this. You're saying that you're okay that this institution is trying to harm or create a situation where its family members are harmed. What do those honors even represent anymore if somebody like Tony Blair has been given one? Or if, I think Gavin Williamson, who was another, one of these Tory corrupt politicians, was given one also. What does it even mean to be given one of those honors anymore if people like that are being given them? I mean, for goodness sake, Jimmy Savile was given a knighthood. I have no idea why anybody would want a Queen's honor. Olive oil was indeed olive oil. Who's olive oil? Is that Catherine? Was indeed salty over quickness of Sussex engagement. Remember when Harry first wanted to introduce Meghan to her, she took the kids and fled to Mama Carol's house. Oh, that's interesting. Never knew that. Thank you, Queen Bee. Thank you for the super chat. Um, Crystal, sorry. Princess Meghan achieved so much in the 2 years she was there with all the negativity. If the royal mafia was not against her, just think what they could have achieved and support. Well, we don't even have to imagine anymore. We're going to see. And we're seeing it already. I mean, they're literally building an entertainment company. And I just find all of the outrage and hoo-ha about, the Netflix deal and Spotify deal and all of this. They are building an entertainment empire. I don't know what part of that the British press and the firm don't understand. Well, actually, I think they do understand it, and which is why they're trying to destroy it. The devil's advocate. She was salty. They didn't call her Waity Katie for no reason. Exactly. And Daniel, Kate was mad because she couldn't have Harry to lean on anymore. Exactly. Kate didn't have Harry to lean on anymore, and William no longer has his scapegoat. So all eyes are on William. Every time he goes to the garden to water the roses, we're all watching now. Anna, thank you so much. 700 people. Yes, thumbs up. Thumbs up, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Your presence is appreciated. Gloria. It was said that Charles fell down and bumped his head on the ground or rock. If Charles becomes king, it will be a short period of time. Well, I hope that they've got those, what do you call them? The royal rat tasters to taste the food. They definitely need those because I'm telling you, Kate and William are desperate for that crown. I hope Oprah releases the whole 3 hours too. Any outtakes, chats, texts, etc. I have an idea there was an agreement to do so if something suspicious happens. That is a very good point. And I wouldn't be surprised if Harry and Meghan have some kind of insurance just to make sure that the truth gets out there if anything ever does happen. But we are here, we are pushing back, and I truly believe, guys and dolls, even with all this drama, that the truth is going to come out and that Harry and Meghan are going to come out of this the winners. They have won at almost every corner so far. So let's keep the hope. Hair Club for Men. Kane will stab his own brother in the back in a New York minute to save his own skin and promote his own brand above Harry's. That is very true, Joseph. But you know what? Harry actually has a brand. William and Kate do not. And this is the thing, right? Harry and Meghan, they know what their brand is. They know who it is that they're trying to market themselves to, right? They have, and also they have a very diverse, or I know a lot of people say like, oh, Harry and Meghan, they're a little bit more down with the kids in comparison to the other royals. Yes, they are down with the kids, but they're down with the kids and their aunties and their mothers and their grandmothers, right? They've got a very diverse audience, and they're very much about their social justice issues. They're very much about wanting to change the world. And whether you like that or hate that, that's who they are, and they know who their audience is. Whereas with the other royals, and especially Catherine and William, they're trying to appease the traditional older royalists. They're trying to appease or trying to get attention from a younger audience. At the same time, they're also trying to keep old traditions alive. They're being pushed around by the press, and they also have to play the social political role that their position requires of them in British society. So can you imagine? They're trying to appease all of these different groups. There's nothing that they can do so because of that, there's nothing that they can do that is ever going to be right. They're always going to be doing something wrong because you can't make everybody happy, right? And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make all of these different groups happy, whereas Harry and Meghan just know who their audience are. And this is why Kate and William are going to fail. And I just gave a whole TED talk and went off on a tangent, but I hope you kind of understood what I said there. Um, Mumble Myra says Mumble's wasted 20 years in and around a huge platform without using it to benefit any people. Indeed, very shameful. Yeah, and it's coming back to bite them because Harry and Meghan have spent the last 20 years building an audience, building platforms, building organizations. And that's why those who aren't in that warped vortex of the British press and and the British establishment can see what's going on. That is why, let me just bring back the picture, if I have it. That is why we have this, right? The international press that know what the truth is and that are sticking up for them. Um, Thank you, Melita, too, for the super sticker. You're wonderful, darling. Lahel Rock. Yet the royal family are not apolitical. It's the Trumpism style, putting their own king folks in influential positions to make laws to benefit themselves. Exactly. And I believe that there is some kind of clause that entitles the Queen's wealth to remain hidden. So we'll never really know what the royal family's private wealth is, and yet we're spending our public taxpayer money to keep them funded. Okay, let me try and get through your comments. I'm going to start wrapping it up because I think I've said pretty much everything I need to say and more. But I'm going to try and get through your comments as well. Joyce Houdini and Beatrice are not working royals. Chuck wouldn't allow it. Any charity work they do is on their own, has nothing to do with the royal family. Oh, that's interesting. I'll look into that. Michelle, I think both Harry and Meghan held back a lot from that interview. Yeah, of course. It's not what they said in that interview, it's what they didn't say. But if this so-called family continues to attack, he may change mind once the Queen is gone. There is a limit to how much one can take. Yeah, there is. But I do believe that they will, I think Harry and Meghan will leave it for as long as they can, because let's be honest, they're kind of hanging themselves at this point. They're outing themselves. So I don't actually believe that Harry and Meghan need to be the ones to put the final hammer down. Unless they're really, like I said earlier on, unless they're really pushed to that edge of the cliff, the unroyal mafia are doing a good enough job of exposing themselves. Mm, let's have a look at your comments. Mm. There was advocate Edward and Sophie's children look miserable, especially when they are with their own royals. Yeah, I mean, what a life, really. But they're probably still in the middle of all of that misery. They are probably still the happiest in that misery because there's so much in the background. They're not in the forefront. They just have to keep quiet and keep their heads down. Have a look, Diane Hawkins. I'll always believe Harry and Meghan actually asked for Frogmore House, not Frogmore Cottage, as a residence. Yeah, they were given the servants' quarters and made to fix it up, then reimburse cost for gift. Yeah, I mean, it is not by accident. You can't tell me that it's by accident that they were given the servants' quarters. Are you serious? That wasn't by accident. We know it wasn't. Definitely not. Okay, I'm literally gonna go through your comments and then I think we'll call it a night. So thank you everyone who has come. Thank you for your super chats and super stickers and your support as always. Joanne, if they're saying they can make an exception for Harry, then they should be expected to do so for every celebrity. So Harry has been placed in the same category as a celeb. And also, let's not forget that William and Kate are going to the US next year. So are William and Kate gonna pay for their own private security? Are the extra intel on the ground that they need from the Secret Service, are William and Kate gonna pay for that? Of course not. And nobody's gonna make a fuss over it. To be quite frank, I think that William and Kate should just not go because I don't know how they're going to be received by Americans. Um, August, the Queen should be paying constantly for the safety of the Sussexes. She saw what happened for the way she acted with Diana's death, and this time it could be worse. It would absolutely be worse if, God forbid, anything happened to Harry and Meghan. But you know, these people, they cannot read the room, and they didn't learn their lesson with Diana. They did not learn their lesson. Clearly, they did not learn their lesson. Look at the way they're acting. And to this day, I honestly believe that the royals do not understand what the outcry or why people had such a big outcry to Diana's death. And even if you I challenge you, go back and watch from footage from the funeral when the Queen and Philip were walking through the crowd, they were taking flowers. I don't see two people who are sad that a family member just died. They're looking at the flowers. The Queen is like taking flowers from people. I mean, I know some of those people were giving flowers to her, but if you didn't know that it was a funeral, you would think that it's just a normal engagement, and that's how they were acting. They weren't acting like it was a funeral and someone had died. Um, so it doesn't surprise me that they're acting like this with Harry and Meghan because they haven't learned their lesson and they're still exactly what they were back now as they were back then. Mm. Ooh. Let's see what else you're saying. Mm. J Law, they just want to use Netflix as a stick to beat Harry with. They didn't care for Diana when she was alive. Now they're concerned for her memory. Yeah, and well, they are they concerned for her memory? I mean, the press continues to use her name to generate money after all of these years. And I think it seems to me like the royals and the spin doctors in the firm are still trying to paint Diana as crazy, um, and paranoid, as William said himself, which I just still can't believe that he stood there and said that. Saw boss, no one will accept that Rottweiler as queen. Oh, you'd be surprised. I mean, don't underestimate the royalists. They may be a minority, but they're still there. Laurie, I hope the Cambridges are going to prep their kids and get a job and work like everyone else, as I don't think there will be a George's reign. I think maybe the spares will have to do something, but I think George is going to be set up by the firm to rule as king if the monarchy survives. Mm. Yeah, that the Martin Luther King Day Twitter post is cringe. I actually wait, I think I have that. Hang on, I did a video on it, but I do think I have. Hang on a sec. Oh yeah, here it is. Yes, they played Stevie Wonder for Martin Luther King Day. So now racism is over. Now that they've done that, the royal family ended racism by playing a Stevie Wonder song on Martin Luther King Day. Somebody actually had a very funny comment. They said, if you've tested positive for racism at any time in the past 365 days, the CDC now recommends that you shut the F up on Martin Luther King Day. And I agree. Mm. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. Um, Thank you for the mods if you're keeping an eye on the trolls because it's very difficult for me to do it. But thank you everyone for coming. And who's going to give us the last word of the day? Joseph, the Sussexes are building a real empire without putting their boot on the necks of Indigenous people and people of colour. Exactly. And they're uplifting people and people of colour with everything they're doing. And NM, Harry and Meghan will prevail. They always have the truth on their side. Amen. And I think that is a wonderful, wonderful comment to end on. Um, and I think we're gonna leave it there. Thank you everyone for coming. I do have a live scheduled for Wednesday, and that is on the topic of did the royal family see Meghan as a threat? And I want to go through that in detail because there's a lot to unpack, I think, with that topic. So please come along and join 7 p.m. British time if you are free. If you want to come along to the live chat, and I will probably schedule a live for Friday. I'm going to do like Wednesday and Friday lives on different topics now. I think that'll be fun. That's all for today. Have a great evening, afternoon, wherever you are, and I'm going to play the music out. Thank you so much, everyone.